Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to TRACKILICIOUS. I'm Eric Ghoukasian, and while I'm the only one on the screen, I'm actually joined by the legend himself, Saagar Bakshi. Hello, Saagar. How are you today?
I am living the dream, Eric. Happy Friday to you all, and happy Friday LMU stream to all of the race drivers out there who are doing the hard work out here at COTA.
Looks like we have a pretty solid grid out there. 6 drivers in LMP. Sorry, I should say hypercar. It used to be an LMP1, but it's a hypercar now. And 10 drivers in GT3s, and they have just completed their qualifying. So why don't we jump straight to the stream and check out what this grid's going to look like. Qualifying timer down to 0 as these folks are sitting in their pit garages, just serving their nerves, slowly building up for the race. And Saagar, we're at COTA today.
Yes, sir, we are with a track length of 3.4 miles or 5.5 kilometers. I don't know what the heck a kilometer is. Founded in 2012, unchanged since its inception. Located in Austin, Texas, 20 corners, 11 to the left, 9 to the right, with 133 feet of elevation change. All of that happening towards turn 1, towards the blind apex. And a 0.73 mile or 1.1 kilometer long back straightaway.
Well, that is fantastic. Austin, an incredible city, having had the fortune to visit there myself. COTA, just outside the city limits. Really fun go-kart track, actually. If you ever go, make sure that you visit the go-kart track just on the outside of COTA. Super fun.
Absolutely. Tons of fun to be had down in Tejas. And one of the things that we're looking forward to the most will be this LMU event. And we're seeing some new cars on the grid that we haven't seen before. The Mustang, the Porsche, and even the AMR Vantage showing its stripes tonight.
Yeah, it's really fun to take this journey along with LMU as it develops, as it grows, as the new cars come. You know, as we have been relatively settled in ACC, with the excitement having settled down, it's fun to have this new and exciting sim come along. Everybody seems to be loving it, and we're excited to be streaming it tonight.
Absolutely. The Ferrari, the 51, leads over the 93 Peugeot, and the 83, and then we have an Alpine, the number 36, followed by the 6, and then we have the Whelen Engineering car trailing behind for these 6 cars that are in this hypercar category.
And we are in a short outlap here on the front straight, and we have the green, go everybody. Pedal to the metal. Looks like engine gets a fantastic start in that Ferrari. The Peugeot just lagging right behind. And we got Afonso and Burke in the background. Burke seeming to get a better run into turn 1 for the hypercars in that Alpine. Overtaking Bucknam. Bucknam losing that rear end. In the GT3 side, looks like Greg Catch does get a fantastic start in that Mustang with Ilippo Ratsalainen just behind the Finnish driver in P2 right now. I'm sure looking to get that improvement in position through this race.
Absolutely amazing race start that we have going for us right now, and it's mostly clean amongst all the drivers here. We're looking at the GT3 category, and they're all nose astern right now. A little bit of side-by-side action between the two Ford Mustangs as we get to the end of turn 9 and towards turn 10. On the approach towards turn 11, this will be the backside hairpin, where we will come down the 0.73 mile or 1.18 kilometer long back straightaway.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did have a situation with Alex Afonso having spun around in one of the earlier corners. Now going to be working his way through the GT3 grid up back to the hypercars. Meanwhile, we do have CJ Engine still leading the pack, trying to build himself a gap to in Burke and Jake Bucknam, who have dropped back over a second and a half now to Engine, just rocket shipping through this track here in Austin.
And we've seen Siege Engine do amazing things before. but it'll all come down to the consistency and how well he applies that throttle pedal. We've seen drivers that charge ahead in the victory lane of first place before, only to have their pit stop strategies really challenge them for that first place spot. Perhaps some of the other drivers are in a bit of fuel saving mode. Here we come up the hill towards turn 1, the 113 feet incline, and then the blind apex of turn 1, and down the hill we go towards turn 2, and then we really enter the Maggots and Beckett's-esque section of turns 3 through turn 9.
Yeah, these corners are absolutely fantastic, but incredibly taxing from a track limits perspective. Now, Saagar, I am a new LMU person. You have a couple of races under your belt. Tell us a little bit more, us and the viewers. Inform me, educate me. How does LMU deal with track limits?
I personally have no idea. I have not raced LMU before, so I'm not quite so certain how track limits are done. I believe it's a points-based system based on how egregious the track limits violation is. So if you dip one wheel off, you know, you might get a quarter of a point. If you dip two wheels off the track, you might get a half a point. If you dip all four wheels off, you might get an entire point. And then once you accumulate enough point penalties, that's when you'll get faced with a drive-through.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. I thought you had run a couple of races, so that's my bad. But it seems like you have some information on it. And Rod Skyhook, aka something else, aka something else, depending on the week, the name changes, is confirming that you are correct, sir. So that is exciting to hear. Oh my goodness, looks like Bucknam's also fallen down the field now within the GT3s, not GT4s, while Alex Afonso has made his way back up into the hypercar grid, hypercar pack, I should say. Flirty630, thank you so much for that prime sub. 11 months, Saagar, that is almost a year.
That is actually almost a year. Unlike most of the things that we say is almost a year, it is actually almost a year. Thank you, Flirty630. Now say that 10 times fast and you'll still get it wrong. Eric, can we change the leaderboard over to split? That way we can see the top 5 in each category.
Ooh, you are challenging my abilities, but I will definitely try. We are looking in the timing tower.
Under the timing tower, it should say mixed, and then right now it should say mixed, and then we should have multi-class being
gotcha.
A drop down.
I clicked the button. There we go. Did it. Are you proud of me, Mom? Here we go. Looks like we have the split.
Let's check out Ilpo Rausalainen, as he is only 4/10 away from Couch out in front right now. The BMW chasing the Ford Mustang. The battle for first and second rages on in the GT3 category. And then we have Jason Provolone 2.8 seconds back right now in third place, ahead of Christopher Tones and then Velez.
Yeah, some new names here for me. Greg Catch is a new name for sure. But Ilpo Ratsalainen, a very familiar name, having driven ACC with us before, and almost a mod level contributor to our Discord. Very informative, very knowledgeable about a lot of things, and clearly has the ability to drive.
Absolutely, he's no slouch behind the wheel of a car, that's for certain. And that's why I'm a little surprised to see him running in P2 right now. Maybe LMU, not his usual forte, and is still coming to grips, no pun intended, with the simulator.
Yeah, not the closest car on track right now. That is Xavier Crab chasing down Ramon Torres. So Crab in the Mustang here, going a little wide as we say that. Oh my goodness. That may be a commentator curse situation there, but unfortunate for Crab to have made that move not work. Give us an opportunity to go and focus back on Ilpo Ratsalainen, who's still chasing down Greg in that Mustang.
Yeah, good battle here for the lead of the GT3 category, and it could all be made or broken in the pit stop cycle. We've seen some drivers, like I mentioned earlier, in the hypercar category really make or break their races, but we've also seen make or breaks in the GT3 category. Earlier on in the championship season, we've seen some drivers have to pit an extra time for that virtual energy limit that they were about to breach, and really that has been their demise.
So that I do think you know a lot about. That's something I definitely don't know much about. So I understand that the virtual energy was something that was implemented by the Le Mans series to try and control the balance between hybrid power or the electric power and the gasoline power, right? Now, how exactly is it executed?
Basically, there is a torque sensor mounted to the rear of the car or to the drivetrain of the vehicle. And that's one of the problems with the Lexus right now, running in LMU or running in Le Mans right now. And it's also bequeathing the Vassar Sullivan team right now, is that torque sensor is basically just not allowing them to get the most out of their vehicle because the virtual energy is depleting so quick. They're basically having to pit stop early every single time that they're running out. So it's basically a measurement of the power output to the wheels, and basically you have a timer associated with it. So you could run, let's say, 120 liters of fuel, to give ACC terms, and your virtual energy could run out at possibly 80, 90, 100 liters, but you still have to pit stop even though you're carrying a higher fuel load than what the virtual energy readout is telling you.
Right, so then you have to really calculate the balance between how much electric power you have and how much fuel you put in there to be able to manage the weight that's effectively on board.
Yeah, it's really about managing the fuel usage or fuel consumption per lap is what you're going for. And you're looking for a target delta, basically. How many laps can you do overall in one stint is what you're really focusing on. And here's the first Proton car that we're looking at, the Ford Mustang chasing down the number 92, coming awfully close into turn one, but looking but no touching, just like a certain club, Gentleman's Club, that we all know about. And the 77 trails right now, coming through the twisty bits. And this is where the Porsche is really going to shine over the Ford Mustang, is through the Maggots and Beckett's X section of turns 2 through turn 9. The Ford Mustang should have the straight line speed to catch back up out of turn 11.
Yeah, this is a great little battle between three drivers, Torres, Miller, and Gross, for effective P6, 7, and 8. And I do want to go on board with Randy Gross here as he looks ahead at the two drivers battling. Looks like there's a bit of a move being put on by Zach Miller. Doesn't quite make it work as they go onto the back straight. Now a bit compromised. However, having the draft all the way down this incredibly long back straight between turns 11 and 12.
Yeah, this is really where the Mustang is going to be true to form. Going for the move on the entry to the corner possibly wasn't the smartest thing. Now side by side on the entry towards turn 12, can he get it stopped in time? He does. The 77 on the brakes, now compromised to the 44 behind. And we are going side by side and almost running the back of the number 92. There goes the 44 up the inside line again through the horseshoe section, and it might be done and dusted here and now. There goes the 44 again, switchback engaged. The 77 just can't do anything to defend right now except for just block that line, and he's doing a great job of defending as hard as he can. And you can see how this all really formed up from that poor exit, getting out of turn 10 and on our way to 11 and 12. And now this is where he's really got to show his stuff, catching back up to the Porsche down the front straightaway. Will it be enough though, or will the 44 try to get past the car in front? Time will only tell if the 77 can hold on.
This is going to be music to Ramon Torres's ears as the other two battle is giving him some breathing room, although not that much. They do look like they have significant pace considering the battling that is continually going on. However, almost a second now between Zach Miller and Ramon Torres. Ramon is going to have to focus up real quick here to ensure that these Mustangs don't get the better of him.
Absolutely true. The Mustangs are going to have to work together to chase down the Porsche. Here we come through turns 2 through 9 yet again, where the Mustangs are just a little bit slower, a little bit heavier and bulkier, trying to get through these twisty bits. But again, coming out of that back straightaway is really where the Mustangs are going to have their opportunities to get past this Porsche. And then where they get past one, they're going to have to get past two here. And that 44 is looking awfully menacing in the back rear view mirror of the 77.
Yeah, that, you know, something, that trackside camera right at the floor, oh my goodness, that's so hype and exciting for me to watch as it shakes as these drivers continue to battle. Again, Zach Miller having a look, giving him some threats, making the guy in front, who is Ramon Torres, trying to lose his focus on where the apex is, where the turn-in point is, where the exit is, but it's just not quite enough as we're going through the T13, 14, and 15 complex here towards the end of the lap. And Ramon Torres is indeed still ahead, but these two Mustangs are incredibly threatening. The speed does seem to be there, but we all know it's one thing to have lap on speed. It's another thing to race and pass. And these two in the back threatening that German automobile. I'm gonna stop myself there before I say something that is maybe a little bit out of the box.
Yeah, I think we all get what you're saying, Eric. And now we're looking at the Ford Mustangs work together yet again. The slipstream has been engaged, and does that 77 have a little bit of bonnet damage? Potentially so. And it looks like the 44 wants to get around the inside line, but then switches back to the optimum line at the very last second. This will leave him a little bit compromised on entry, but the 77 is going a little bit deep himself. And now they've lost touch with Ramon Torres out in front. It looks like these two cars are no longer working together, and they just want to duke it out on the racing circuit. Two Americans battling it out, the Ford Mustangs, showing us what they're made out of.
Saagar, put yourself in the position of the yellow car. Are you battling blue, or are you pushing him ahead to try and overtake the Porsche there?
I would just push him. I don't know how damage works in LMU exactly, but I would just give him a little NASCAR bump in the rump coming down the straightaway. I would even just right here, right now, give him a little push coming out of turn 10 and see what happens to that Porsche. Just watch him disappear into the darkness.
Yeah, you know, the one risk of doing that, assuming the damage isn't a problem, is that Zach Miller, who is in the blue Mustang, gets ahead, and Randy Gross does not, and stays behind. And that little push would have given Miller the advantage, but really hold up Gross as there may be just not enough of a speed advantage to get by the Porsche, as we do see the hypercars now in a position where they have to overtake lap traffic, as we have CJ Engine having come through a full lap going through these battling cars.
Yeah, this is the prime time now, is when the lap traffic giveth and lap traffic taketh away. Side by side between a Ferrari and a Porsche, not of the same class, but different classes of cars. And there goes the inside move from the 77 on the 92. A little bit of argy-bargy elbows out racing, and the Porsche goes off wide and abuses track limits to keep himself alive. And the LMGT3 car in front, beautiful shot of the parking lot here, thanks to LMU's trackside cameras. But the 77 holds on in front of Ramon Torres, number 92, and now is under threat from the car behind. I said it before, I'll say it again. Lap traffic giveth, lap traffic taketh away.
Yeah, this time it taketh away from Ramon Torres, but does giveth to Zach Miller. Zach Miller now up into P6. Now Randy Gross in the other Mustang looking to challenge the white Porsche of Ramon Torres. Looks like Gross is quite close and is incredibly threatening, and it's kind of cool to see the reddish orange lights just under the hood of that Mustang, just menacingly approaching that Porsche.
Yeah, the 44 is getting pretty big right now and threatening that Porsche into the inside line now, coming into the backside hairpin. And there's a little bit more argy-bargy action as the 44 barges his way by Ramon Torres with the purple wing mirrors. And yeah, that'll be done and dusted. And the 44 and 77 are working their way forward. And Ramon Torres is left wondering what exactly happened on this last lap.
You know, I think he did well to defend for as long as he did. Just didn't quite seem that he had sufficient pace or equivalent pace, let's say, to the two Mustangs ahead. Now, is that a matter of skill of the driver? Is that a matter of the vehicle? We don't know. We do have the Porsche of Chris Tones up in 4th place, who's doing a good job. A little bit of an island for Tones here in 4th. But the person who is still battling, though, is the BMW of Liporazzolainen, who is still within a second of Greg Catch.
And that 1 second margin means a lot right now. It means that you have enough space between you to fit a hypercar, as we see the 51 squeezing his nose in there. But we also see the slipstream coming into effect for that number 46 WRT car that is chasing down the Ford Mustang in 1st place right now. And you can see the abuse of track limits there, just cutting it as finely as possible by the number 46 WRT BMW M Series. And it's doing a good job of keeping it between the mayo and the mustard right now, between the red and white lines as we come through the twisty bits, and even getting a little undulated there and catching a little tiny bit of air. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about LMU, is seeing the cars get just slightly airborne.
We got some input from Rod Skyhook, in chat, saying that he would just be lifting and coasting a little bit. Try to save some fuel, try to save some of that virtual energy to try and maximize the pit pass.
Interesting strategy. Well, the drivers did not heed that advice. They just went for the push to pass option and escaped that Porsche as quickly as possible. And it looks like that gap has escaped them by about 2 seconds at this point.
Now we have some interesting situations. I'm incredibly amazed at the gap that CJ Engine has pulled on Juan Caires. A whole 18 seconds with only 20 minutes into the race. CJ Engine is tearing it up, absolutely ripping through the racetrack, managing to get through most, if not all, actually all, as we did see him pass Greg Catch, the P1 GT3 driver. He is a rocket ship in that Ferrari hypercar. Missing the apex, but
the 51 is doing a good job of pushing as hard as possible, and even did a great job of making it through the lap traffic without too much issue here. Siege Engine doing a good job of leading this race over Juan Caires, but again, fuel saving strategy. It obviously looks like the 51 is not saving any fuel whatsoever, while the rest of the field is definitely managing their VE, their virtual energy fuel loads.
Shiny Carp, that's so unfortunate. Which driver are you? I can't say that I've seen your Twitch name before, but really unfortunate. It seems we have a disconnect. Yeah, that's something that I haven't heard much of in LMU, at least later on in these recent days, as it seems to have gotten much more stable and a really enjoyable sim to drive for most. Unfortunately, not the situation for Shiny Carp today. Oh yeah, Crab. That sucks, Crab. Really unfortunate. But while we do have CJ Engine just tearing it up by his lonesome 20 seconds ahead of P2, we still have that battle going on between these two cars for P1. However, even closer, some fun situation happening as Jake Bucknam comes through with the Peugeot here, and it is the winged version, the new version of the Peugeot. And these two drivers here, who are Eric Velez and Ramon Torres still going farther and farther down, losing positions to yet more Mustangs.
I believe the 88 was already in front of the 92, if I'm not mistaken. I could be very wrong about that, but slipping back is that 88 from the two cars in front, but now in front of the 92, more importantly. And the 92 is looking like he wants to pounce and get some revenge on the American cars. Up to the inside line now as the 88 has a little bit of a wiggle. We all know that the inside turns into the outside for the falling corner. The Porsche has to fall in line for this one.
Going through, I believe I'm trying to get my orientation into the last corner here as they just flowed through the incredible triple apex of 16, 17, 18. Super high speed. That Mustang just not settling the rear. That throttle control, a little to be desired for smoothness, but just not quite enough for Ramon Torres to do anything about Eric Velez's misfortune of lack of grip in the rear.
Little bit of lack of grip or a little bit of loss of traction. Again, as Rod Skyhook pointed out, fuel saving, virtual energy will be the most important thing for some of these drivers to try to get an overtake done in pit lane. But I don't think the GT3s are really worried about fuel saving right now. I think they're just trying to push to their heart's content and build up as much time as possible. Looking at the leader will be Kosh ahead of Rausalainen by 0.8 of a second. Provolone around 7.5 back. Chris Tones 9.3 back. And then Miller 21.9 off the leader's pace. Out in the hypercar category, Siege Engine leading over Juan Caires, Andre Alex Alfonso, the number 83, 32 seconds off the lead, and Jake Buckman, and then Lozovsky, 311 Cadillac, about one lap down now.
I do want to go have a look at that Cadillac. That thing sounds so good. Let's see if we can get some audio of this incredible American machine. Trying to find his way through the S's. Well, that is quite exploratory in that line.
Yeah, it looks like the 311 is really not comfortable with the Maggots and Beckett section here at COTA and just not finding the rhythm of the rhyme or getting jiggy. It's maybe not bobsled time for the Whelen Engineering Cadillac, that's for certain.
I think he's likening it to the early form of the Jamaican team in the bobsled competition, trying to perfect for the better performance towards the end of the show.
Yes, he's still doing the Einweinstein rather than the it's time to get jiggy, it's bobsled time routine. I completely understand. Just not true to form yet, that 311, but it does sound good. Let's take a few moments to listen to the sights and sounds of the 311 and hopefully know more of the brakes locking up.
He's definitely not feeling the rhythm nor feeling the rhyme.
No, he's not. He's locking up the brakes more than anybody I've ever seen. And again, exploratory track limits there, just not finding his way through some of the multiple apex corners on this circuit, although he's doing the single apex corners pretty well.
I mean, I'm sure there was an apex that's there somewhere in that single apex corner, but let's have a look at the incredibly different sounding Peugeot under Jake Bucknam's authority here. See how he handles it.
And this is the Peugeot 9X8 2024 edition, the LMH car. 2.6 liter V6 twin turbo, pushing around 670 brake horsepower or 520 kilowatts, weight of around 1,030 kilograms. I don't know what the heck a kilogram is, but the length of 5,000 millimeters, width of around 2080 millimeters, and 7-speed sequential. Best FIA World Endurance Championship result was 4th place, and that was in Fuji of 2024.
For those that are looking for the answer, 1 kilogram equals to 2.2 pounds.
Of course, Eric would know that from his younger, more formative days.
Yeah. A number that is brought up often in the workplace, which just so happens to be maybe, maybe not the same company as this vehicle is assigned to.
I didn't know Peugeot sold cocaine.
Oh, Nice.
Thank you. I was holding back. I had to do it.
We sell speed, but not that kind.
Ah.
Hey, brought it back. Ramon Torres in 6th place now. Looks like Velez has lost a position, and we did see Velez having some challenges in the rear traction of the Mustang and continuing to do so, really wiggly through these corners here. And that seems to have given Torres the opportunity to get back up into 6th place. Zach Miller also dropped, DNF'd. Oh my goodness, after all of that, Zach Miller has DNF'd. I really do hope that he pops in chat and lets us know what happened.
Always unfortunate to see drivers drop out of a race, especially one as long as this. We had a nice grid size when we got started, but now we've lost at least 2 drivers to red flag incidences, or getting meatballed, let's call them, due to technical issues. And hopefully we don't lose that many more vehicles here on LMU Fridays, hosted by TRACKILICIOUS. And we're joined by none other than Eric the Boss Ghoukasian. And I'm the co-star here, Saagar Bakshi.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Saagar. That someone may have, out of courtesy, put the boss in the middle of my name, but really the boss when it comes to streaming are you and Mike Noss. So I'm just here to learn, to see how you do it with all the fantastic information you have in your mind or at hand somewhere, because you're spitting out some facts, and I'm incredibly impressed, I have to say.
Yeah, well, it comes to form when you're streaming, 6-7 days a week and watching so many hours of racing. I just love watching cars go around glorified ovals, and Coda's got to be one of my favorites as well. It is a great track to see drivers go racing at time and time again. It's got everything you can ask for: a long back straightaway, front straightaway that's pretty long and substantial, some great elevation changes, some great scenery that you can see here, brought to you by the LMU broadcast cameras. I can't wait for someone to come out with a camera pack for LMU. That would be phenomenal to see. I know iRacing has one that's available now. If you're interested, go check out Whiplash Cameras. But yes, these cameras are providing us with some pretty good action right now. On board with the number 46 is what we're looking at now.
Yeah, impressive that Filippo Razzolainen is still within a second of Greg Catch. And this battle has been going on for quite some time. Now, what I'm surprised about is the range in which Filippo has maintained is, you would think, right, if there was a pace difference, that Filippo would be dropping off more and more and more every lap, but he has managed to maintain a pretty close gap to Greg Catch. And it's just fun to see that, any single mistake is really where this striking distance is within, right? Within just outside a second now. But if Greg, for some reason, has an off track or has a wiggle or something, that really puts Filippo in a situation where he could be looking at the lead of the race.
That or lap traffic getting involved. We've seen lap traffic make some pretty egregious lunges on the GT3 category and other events this season, and maybe not wise decisions will be made, and that might hand the race back over to Razzolainen. But time will only tell. But for now, they're looking pretty straight and narrow. But the gap's opened up to 1.1 seconds already as we come down the straightaway in towards 1. The 77 leads over Ilpo, driving the number 46 WRT car.
Yeah, and this is impressive for Greg to have this much speed. I mean, let's not sell either one of them short. They are incredibly quick drivers. We know Filippo for quite some time, and for Greg to have bested him at least in qualifying and continuing to maintain the lead now, how many, 30 minutes into the race with another 70 to go. It's a truly impressive performance.
Yeah, truly is. Yeah, we've just got about 70 minutes remaining, as Eric just pointed out. And yes, it is going to be a good and exciting race finish that we're going to have. And it might be decided in the pit stop strategy. We might not even get an on-track battle for the lead of this race. That's the beauty of endurance racing here on LMU, is that it all comes down to strategy and how you want to play things out. Gaps opened up to around 1.2 seconds as we come down the back straightaway, and it looks like Rausalainen's losing touch just a little bit with the 77 out in front.
Yeah, maybe it's a difference in performance between the two cars here, between the BMW and the Mustang up ahead. I don't know. Driver performance, vehicle performance, we just don't quite know. But what we do know is both drivers do have incredible speed, incredible pace, and quite impressive to have stuck together for so long. As our good friend Alex Freeman coming into chat here, questioning if I'm Eric El Jefe, considering the knowledge of the conversion here.
Who knows? Eric won't tell us, but you know, maybe Lisa will pop into chat and let us know what Eric's real job is. Selling speed, he says. And I believe speed is also measured in grams, ounces, and kilograms.
Kilograms per second.
That's what KPH stands for. Oh, duh. I never knew what a kilometer was until now.
Actually, to correct it a little bit, I guess, Alex, it wouldn't be Eric El Jefe, it'd be Enrique El Jefe, right? You gotta fully change it to the metric unit. Back to the racing, though. Have a look at Alex Afonso. Alex, having had a situation early in the race, is back up to P3 in the hypercar class. You know, I've been incredibly critical of Ferrari design language in their road cars as of the last 10 years. I'm more of a like 355, 360, that era of Ferrari. Yeah, and older Testarossa, etc. F50 as well. Road cars recently, not my favorite, but this hypercar looks absolutely fantastic. I love the proportions, love the colors that they've picked. I think they look super fast even when they're sitting still.
And I believe Lego's coming out with a Ferrari model this month. And it's not a modern day 499, Pete. It'll be one of the older 499s. This Ferrari 499 is an LMH 3-liter V6 twin turbo, pushing around 670 brake horsepower, 500 kilowatts, a weight of around 10,057 kilograms without the fuel or the driver. 7-speed sequential. Best FIA World Endurance Championship result was first place in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2023 and 2024.
Hang on a second. It can't be 10,000 kilograms. That's like spaceship stuff.
Oh, 1,057 kilograms. Excuse me.
I was like, what kind of gravitational source does this thing have to be able to propel itself with 10,000 kilograms on board? That is, yeah, we're talking about buildings at that point.
My blunder. And speaking of blunders, the 83 having a bit of a tank slapper there, coming through the infield section and challenging himself to get the mayo and the mustard put down on this car. Maybe the tire fade starting to become a thing for the drivers as we're nearing the halfway point of this race.
You know, maybe we could do a little bit of this. Let's have a look and see a comparison between Alex Afonso's pace and speed. That's odd. The audio is so weird. It seems like it quiets down. What is that? Is that just a game bug, or does the power source actually change like that?
I don't know what you're referring to.
I don't think it. So, well, he was going straight. It seemed like he was lifting on the straight, which might just be the case, but oh, as he loses the rear end a little bit.
Another tank slapper there for the 83 Ferrari hypercar.
Oh my goodness.
Sends it into the end zone and almost into the barrier. And the Michelin Man is definitely waving at the number 83 right now. That was a close call for Andre Alex Alfonso, and this might open the door for Jake Bucknam to catch back up. And you can see him lurking in the background, driving that Peugeot, and he is catching at a rate of 9.
I would guess that Jake, because Jake was doing pretty well. I think he was up into P2 or P3 in qualifying, so he does have some pace in hand, and that mistake from Alex Alfonso does give him the opportunity to have a look. He is within a second now in that Peugeot. There's something to be said about that Peugeot. That Peugeot does look kind of cool, and there is a Lego set for that Peugeot, which I believe is available within our affiliate code. I think, if I remember correctly.
It doesn't work here.
Oh no. Well, you know what? You might be able to change that. But hopefully I didn't change something here, because my stream just went blank, it seems like.
It does look like the stream went blank.
Okay. Hopefully it's back. Folks, sorry about that.
Back.
Not quite sure what happened there, but yeah, so Jake Bucknam now challenging and charging at Alex Alfonso, having caught back up. There was a significant gap before, but no longer is the case in this Peugeot. This Peugeot absolutely threatening to that Ferrari. That mean mug of the front end of the Peugeot now chasing down the slick looking yellow Ferrari of Alex Alfonso. Alex Alfonso doing his best to minimize the wiggles and the mistakes that we saw just moments ago. Jake Bucknam now looking on the inside, getting great traction onto the straight. Will duck in behind to get as much of that slipstream as possible as Alex Alfonso punches a hole into the air, allowing Jake Bucknam to catch up as much as possible. We see the Mustang of who is probably Randy Gross stepping aside. It's either Gross or Velez. I forget which one was driving which. Stepping aside, allowing this battle to continue. Jake Bucknam really laid on the brakes now, collecting in more delta and more deltas. Another wiggle from Alfonso does give Jake yet more advantage as Jake continues to hunt this car down. Looking on board, Jake trying to balance the Peugeot through turns 13, 14, sorry, 16, 17, and 18 in the triple apex in the last sector here. Both going off track, trying to gain as much of the width of the track as possible and going a little bit too far. Jake Bucknam not having quite enough for this lap, but will continue chasing down the likes of Alex Alfonso.
And Bucknam, I believe, did pit already early on in this race, perhaps getting a splash and dash served and then back out onto the racetrack. So this was going to be an interesting battle between himself and Alfonso. Now Alfonso going a little bit deep there at turn 1, going onto the red stuff at Big Red, and then now coming through the twisty bits, the Peugeots on the optimum line, and it should close down the gap pretty steadily here, and it is doing so. It's pretty neat and tidy right now, and excuse me, it could be anybody's ball game between these two drivers.
I suspect with the pace that Jake had, as we usually do have Jace Wright in here as well in our LMU events, Jake is looking pretty good and did qualify better than Alex did. So I think he has pace in hand. If we look at their best laps, actually, interestingly enough, Alex Alfonso has bested his best lap by 0.2 over Jake Bucknam. As we say that, Bucknam does manage. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking away and I thought the yellow of Chris Tones, his buddy there in the Porsche, was actually the Ferrari, which is not the Ferrari. Still ahead. But as I was saying, the 155.444 of Alex Alfonso, 0.2 better than the 155.663 of Jake Bucknam.
Not much to be said about that, though, because it's not about your best lap. It's about your last lap that you're able to produce. And right now it's looking like the number 83 Ferrari is regaining its pace and momentum. The 93 struggling to catch back up after an awkward exchange with the back markers there. Jake Bucknam perhaps in a fuel saving mode yet again as we approach turn 1.
Little wiggle from the Peugeot there, but does manage to maintain its cool. So interestingly about the old Peugeot, the original strategy and thought and the theory, I guess, was let's go no wing. Oh my goodness. I got worried there for a second. So they said, let's go no wing. Try to reduce as much drag as possible and try to win these endurance races based off of efficiency, as Jake Bucknam absolutely sends it into T11. A little bit of argy-bargy. I don't know how clean that was. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. That angle didn't really serve us well in being able to determine that. But Bucknam does get himself ahead. Well, like I was saying, no wing strategy, try and reduce the amount of drag and try to make the vehicle as efficient as possible, taking a lesson from the Audis of old, the diesel Audis that were back in the 2000s, just trying to win on efficiency and less pit stops. Didn't quite work out for the Peugeot team, I'm sorry, who ended up converting back to a more traditional winged race car.
Yeah, that's true, but the car was really designed for very few tracks for it to perform very well at. Those were going to be Monza, obviously, and Le Mans, its namesake. And its home track is where they tried to take a victory at it. And they just didn't have enough data on the car to really work it out, all the kinks, I believe, for those two racetracks. It was a one-off design. It was a ground effect car, meaning that the undercarriage is really what was dragging it forward, or dragging it to the earth, I should say, versus having that wing do all that work and pushing it down into the floor. And they're going to split that BMW like a pig right there through the infield section. The number 93 escapes with his life, and the number 83 of Alfonso has to sit and wait patiently behind the wings of the BMW.
That is a really unfortunate exchange for Alex Alfonso, dropping him back now by a whole 3 seconds behind Bucknam as they go through the likes of Greg Catch and Filippo Razzolainen. Catch still now actually increasing his lead up to 2.5 seconds. And yeah, as the P3, P4 cars in the hypercar class get through the P1, P2 cars of the GT3 class here.
Yeah, Filippo Razzolainen 2.5 seconds back from the leader of this race, the number 77 Ford Mustang. Jason Provolone 18 seconds off the leader, 16 seconds away from Razzolainen. And then we have Chris Tones and Randy Gross in the 44 in 5th place. There's your top 5 on the left-hand side of your screen for the LMGT3s. And the hypercars, it's Siege Engine over Juan Kairos by around 36 seconds. And is this a gap that we expected to see at this point in the race, Eric? 35 seconds between the leader and second place. Then about another 20 seconds back will be Jake Bucknam, then Andre Alex Alfonso, and then Lozovsky about 2 laps down now.
Absolutely incredible performance by CJ Engine. I mean, that gap. I mean, we're not even halfway through the race yet, and he's ripping it in that Ferrari.
Yeah, Siege Engine is putting his pedal to the metal right now, does not care about saving any form of energy. He is going to the absolute brink of his limits. And that's where you see mistakes happen time and time again, is when drivers are pushing to the absolute edge of their skill and they push a little too far past that barrier. That's when we'll see a little bit of slip and slide. That's when we'll see the oversteer. That's when we'll see a little bit of argy-barginess. But overall, the 51 of Siege Engine's done a great job of keeping it calm, cool, and collected for now.
Absolutely, and not only that, but he gives himself a little bit of breathing room. He can calm down. He could slow it down maybe to ensure that, let's say he's I don't know, the tires are wearing out or whatever it is, and just needs to take a little bit more caution in his efforts. That might be the time. This might be the way to do it.
Who are you to tell a racing driver to slow down? I bet that strategy doesn't work for you, Eric, during any race that you're ever in. It's hard to think about it when you're behind the wheel of a car, pushing to the absolute limit and going as hard as you possibly can. And there is the 92 gently getting out of the way of the leader 51. Typically, that's not the strategy that you want to follow. You want to remain predictable and on the racing line and force the hypercars to go around, but it seems like some drivers are yielding their way to Siege Engine in that 51 right now.
There's not much more slowing down I could do from the slowest possible driver on track at any occasion. So that's not a temporary strategy for me. That's a permanent strategy, to be slow on track. That being
permanent strategy on D, indeed, for some drivers. Yes, and we are doing amazing things here, broadcasting LMU yet again. And thank you very much to Eric the Boss Ghoukasian for getting things working for us for this broadcast. And I apologize, about 2 weeks ago, not much we could do about that, just a couple of technical difficulties and hiccups that bequeaths my computer, but I'm glad to be back in the LMU booth. Joined with me is Eric Ghoukasian, and we're watching the TRACKILICIOUS hosted events. And if you're interested in joining us here at TRACKILICIOUS, !SimGrid, !Discord, get involved in the action, get to joining us on the racetrack. It'll be a wonderful time had by all, and you can find yourself getting caught on camera just like Siege Engine is right now.
Yeah, we do want to go on board and look. We saw the wiggles and waggles of Alex Afonso as we try to find a more suitable camera here. Well, it seems like not anyone is immune to the technical difficulty and sensitivity of driving the hypercars.
No, even heroes and titans fall every once in a while, and these hypercars are a little bit tricky to get to grips with. And I'm surprised that all of these drivers from TRACKILICIOUS have fallen in love with LMU as much as we have here at the broadcast booth, because it is a wonderful simulator and doing a great job of keeping it between the mayo and the mustard. Are all of these drivers really that are making it to the end, to the checkered flag?
Yeah, I've been hearing so many positive things about the sim, and Saagar, your early adapting of the stream for this sim has been absolutely phenomenal. Clearly, we're limited in our abilities to do certain things that you are quite used to now with your fantastic Steam Deck and buttons and technical abilities and stuff. My limitation: trackside camera, onboard camera. And here we are on board, listening to the screeching of those tires, trying to find the grip at the incredibly complex track here outside of Austin, Texas at COTA. Question in chat: MA failure? No, LMU is currently not crossplay. I don't even know if it's available on consoles, to be honest with you.
I don't believe so. LMU is still in the beta, and we're seeing the first of the pit stops take place for the GT3 category. Who was that? Was that Chris Tones coming down pit lane in the number 91? It was Ilpo Razalainen and Jason Provolone, both into pit road.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting how this plays out. Looks like Great Catch still out on the field doing... still putting down some good laps, and looks like Ratsalainen had decided that it is time for his pit stop to not be out of the rules for the virtual energy that's available to him. Bunch of cars coming in for a stop, and this is going to be interesting how this plays out in the battle between Ilpo and Greg Catch. Yeah,
this is going to be interesting, and let's see if Rausalainen can get the undercut done on Catch now. And the Catch is still driving out there. And I wonder if Rouselainen can actually make it to the end. He hasn't actually gone to the halfway point of the race yet. So maybe a little bit too early of a pit stop, or maybe he's forcing himself into a dual pit stop. Well, the 77 could be going for a single pit stop here to make it to the end.
So we have another interesting format. On Tuesdays, we have also launched yet another LMU championship where it runs 2-time fuel consumption in a 60-minute race. Still gives you that technical difficulty of having to deal with pit stops and virtual energy, but a shorter race given that it's a weekday time.
Yeah, it's awfully exciting to hear that TRACKILICIOUS is expanding its LMU events to more days of the week. And is that going to be a bi-weekly series as well, or is that going to be a weekly series, Eric?
Yeah, it's a weekly series, so every Tuesday we have 3 more races remaining, I believe, as it did start this past week. And we made it a short season so that it would be comfortable for people to join more frequently and still be competitive in the mini championships that we are hosting. So we currently have the series running. First race ran this past week and seemed like everybody had a great time with some incredibly quick drivers. And second race coming up at Spa this following week, followed by Monza, closing out with Portimao, maybe, possibly. And that 4-week championship ends, and immediately after, another one begins.
Exciting stuff. I'm seeing more and more people jump onto the LMU bandwagon because of how in depth it has gone, and especially gathering traction with the manufacturers that they're bringing on board. We saw the Porsche and the Aston Martin, as well as the Ford Mustang, come out in the past month or so, and it's exciting to get the league or the grid expanded to contain so many manufacturers. The last we're waiting on, of course, is that lovely Lexus, but it hasn't been performing very well in the WEC Championship.
The Lexus, multiple passionate relationships between with Saagar and Lexi. One being that he does love Lexuses on track. I'm pretty sure you're a big Lexus fanboy, aren't you, on track?
I am a big fanboy from the Lexus. I love Lexus so much, I've even named my daughter Lexus. And here goes the 77 down pit road. They are finally taking to the pit call. And was that Siege Engine into the pits as well, or was that, who was that? That was the number 51. Just having a hard time getting the pit lane right now, and just coming in at a weird angle, and that might cost him a whole heap of time as he does get to the halfway point of the race. So I believe that the 51 might be able to do it on a one-stop race. Wiggles coming in just to say, I get it. Not sure what you get, but I'm glad that you got it, buddy.
I do. It took me a minute as well, but I did title the stream LMU Dallas Multiclass. I'm such a dad. It's an old Fifth Element joke.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad.
Wiggles, you be the judge. Neutral party. Is that good or is that bad?
That's so bad.
I'm still laughing at it because I think it's hilarious.
So bad. I'm not even going to entertain that with a comment anymore. Siege Engine, Andre, Alex, Alfonso, pit callers right now. Juan Kairos in third place, Jake Bucknam in fourth, Lazowski in fifth place right now for the hypercar category. And then we have Catch in P1, Rouselainen resumes P2, Provolone in third, Tones in fourth, and Velez in fourth.
This is interesting. I'm very curious to see what the positions end up being between Greg and Alipo. It can't have been 21 seconds from like a 3 or 4 second gap.
That's absolutely crazy. Ilpo Rouselainen probably ended up taking tires, or at least a set of tires, and that would explain the gap that has grown so much between the two of them.
Well, I guess we're going to have to keep an eye out on the pace that these guys have with 43 minutes left, practically halfway through the race here. Is that going to be enough tire to make up the difference between Greg and Lipo?
I don't know. Time will only tell us what's actually happening right now. Rausalainen, 19.2 seconds. We'll keep an eye on that. Provolone, 33 seconds back. Tones, 39. And Gross, 58 seconds back. But the real winner right now is Siege Engine, leading by 35 seconds after the first pit stop. And we know that Siege Engine can make it to the end, and he can even stop at the line if he wanted to, and just so that he doesn't have to drive an extra bonus lap.
Now, what's interesting is Bucknam's dropped behind Afonso again. Through the pits? Question mark?
It looks like it. Through the pit stop cycle, Bucknam has fallen back behind the number 83 of Alfonso.
Dealing with a bit of lap traffic. Bucknam again through turns, the straight between turns 11 and 12. Bucknam looking on the inside. Does he have enough? Alex leaving quite a bit of breath as the outside turns into the inside on turn 13 and 14. And reverses back to the outside at turn 15 here. These guys, incredible little battle here. Oh, trying the over and under, just miscalculating the slightest bit. And that does look like a position for Bucknam. Yeah, it was the right idea. It was the right idea. I liked what I saw there.
Poor execution. Well, I wouldn't even say poor execution, just slightly misjudged execution. It was a great attempt from Alfonso to try to get past Bucknam there, but unfortunately Bucknam's car just existed at the wrong place and right time in the time-space continuum, and therefore Bucknam maintains the lead and is in third place now, leading by around a second already. The gap has grown very steadily and will continue to grow as Alfonso continues to just kind of flirt with not lap traffic, just as flirting with track limits is what the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I think ultimately Bucknam just seems to have more pace, whether it's through practice or just having more experience with LMU. I know he was an early adapter and quite a fan of the LMU universe as it is expanding with more cars and tracks as of recent times, and hopefully even more so down the road. And Bucknam's pace truly coming out on top right now. And like you said, while Afonso does have the fastest stirrer lap, it's just about what the last lap is rather than what the best lap is.
Yeah, it all depends. You could be the fastest guy in qualifying, but it doesn't mean much if you can't maintain the consistency as well. And that was a beautiful shot coming through Big Red there, and now coming through the infield section. Oh, that wasn't Big Red. That was, what turn was that? That was a hairpin corner. I thought that was turn one. I apologize. It's hard to discern where we are on the track because there are no corner names here, just corner numbers for us to rely on. But anyways, back to the action. It looks like the Peugeot, the number 93, leads, and lap traffic will give it. Lap traffic might take it away, and here's a Porsche that they're going to have to contend with again. That is glitching a little bit back and forth. We call that rubber banding here in the sim racing world.
That was a scary moment, and I believe if I were to look in Discord right now, Bucknam and that Porsche of Chris Tones are in the same VC, and Chris Tones would have given him a very easy pass for that corner in the last section. As we go through turn one here, why don't we go on another onboard? I don't see any immediate battles happening, but there will be some soon. Hop on board with Bucknam and get a lap out of him here, why don't we, as he goes through the S's of the first sector. Excuse me. Turns 3, 4, 5, 6 and into 7. Incredibly complex. Just trying to find the correct apex and turn-in points is incredibly challenging. You always seem to want to go on the throttle earlier than you actually can through the final corners of that S section. And talking about going faster than you can, Bucknam going off track. Does this give the opportunity for Afonso to get that position back all the way through the straight? That is literally the worst place to make that mistake, which is the exit of turn 11. And Afonso finds his way back into P3.
Stand by 1 second.
Fortunately, we get to see a bunch of action. These guys going back and forth. The mistakes coming in with only 40 minutes left in the race out of a 100-minute race. Now, Afonso seems to be more consistent at this point in time. Does get the position done. Bucknam now a second and in 2/10, almost a second and a half behind. Is going to be a great opportunity for Afonso. Head down, focus up, and try to get that fastest lap that he has over Jake Bucknam. All that being said, with even the fastest lap of 1:55.4, that is a whole second and a half nearly slower than CJ Engine with a 1:54.1. We said he is just blazing through the course here, but I underestimated the speed advantage that he had, where it's literally 1.3 to 1.318 seconds. 1.31, no, less than that. 1.318 seconds slower than CJ Engine. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Well, you better believe it, Eric. CJ Engine is just that fast on the racetrack right now. What is Juan Kairos and Alfonso's fastest lap?
So we have a 1:54.195 of CJ Engine, followed by in P3 a 1:55.444 from Afonso, a 1:55.653 from Bucknam in P3, a 1:55.726 from Juan Kairos. So Juan Kairos' consistency seems to be winning over what's been happening between Jake and Afonso.
Really interesting stuff there to hear that the fastest lap isn't what's making or breaking the race. Yellow flag is waving somewhere on the track for the drivers. Hopefully that's not a permanent yellow flag and more so a cleared one. There it is, cleared at the top left-hand side of your screen just a few moments ago. Right now it's the 93 leaving over the 83 as that position's become inverted yet again.
You know, typically in endurances, we get into a mode where the cars end up being significantly distant from each other, as we could see, let's say between P1 and P2, P2 and P3, and even in the GT class, Lupo Rozzolainen now down to 16 seconds, Saagar. Only 16, where he started off with 21, so you probably right. He probably has tires, and he's just chewing away at that delta. Is it going to be enough? I think it was maybe 4 seconds and 10 minutes, meaning that he has 30 more of those, or 3 more of those 4 seconds, which ends up being 12 more seconds, a bit deficient to the 16 that he has right now.
Yeah, I don't think the maths end up working out right now for Ilpo Rozzolainen, who took at least one side of tires on his car. And that's one of the beauties of LMU, is now you get to decide if you want to take basically half a tire set, only changing one side of your tires, or if you want to take all 4 tires. It's quite interesting to see what the strategy will play out to be. And it's looking like it's not in Ilpo Rozzolainen's favor, but he had to do something different than what Catch was already doing. And he knew that Catch was going to go for that splash and dash to try to make it to the end.
Yeah, I agree with the strategy. Makes sense. Try something different. And we do have Alex Afonso trying everything. Trying the left, trying the right, and trying to duck down behind Jake Bucknam here as they both get past who I believe is Greg Cash in the P1 for the GT3 class.
Both drivers able to make it through as the entrance to Big Red. And now it looks like the 83 is closer to that 93 and closer than ever before. And this might be a flat out battle for the remaining podium position that's available to them, because it looks like Juan Caires and Siege Engine have just checked out of this conversation.
Yeah. And again, it is fantastic to see these battles still. So far, so deep into the race. Now nearly only 30 minutes remaining. Alfonso seems to have found some magic, I think. Bucknam isn't dropping him as quickly as he was earlier.
That's true. Jake Bucknam not dropping Alfonso like the stone earlier on in this race. Maybe Alfonso's finally found that Jamaican bobsled rhythm that he's been looking for and finally closed down the gap, but a little bit of a lockup coming into that corner, and that's not going to help his cause at all. He's going to have to get some dental work done with all that teeth chattering that he's going to be doing on that wheel.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme. You're in a Ferrari, it's overtake Bucknam time. That's what good. I got. Better than the LMU Dallas Multiclass? Come on, that's so good.
Way better than LMU Dallas Multiclass.
What I liked about the LMU Dallas Multiclass is that it feels like it has the same amount of syllables, which matches the rhythm in which you have to say LMU Dallas Multiclass.
And back to the racing now. Catch leads over Rausalainen by 16.5 seconds, it looks like. And then Provolone in third place, Chris Tones in fourth, Velez in fifth place. How many drivers do we have remaining in this race right now, Eric?
We have a total of 12 drivers remaining with 4 DNFs. Sounds like 1 or 2 may have been unfortunate disconnects, but the rest still trying to best each other on the track here at Austin. We are at COTA. If you're not familiar with the scenery in the background, the red, white, and blue, so prevalent on the track. Filippo Rausalainen now coming in. The white and blue native, the Finnish driver here. In P2, chasing down Greg Cash. Now, we were talking about 16 seconds earlier. He's dipping down into the 17s. Greg just seems to have pace that Filippo can't match, even with, was it tires or maybe more fuel? Maybe it wasn't tires. I don't know. He did catch up a whole 3 seconds, but it's all suspicious here.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. The yellow flag's waving again somewhere on the racetrack for the drivers. But Eric's got his suspicions about Cash's strategy call and Ilpo Rausalainen's. I have a feeling like Ilpo is not going to make it to the end. I feel like he still has one more pit stop to make, because he did pit before the 45-minute mark, being that he didn't split this one exactly down the middle versus Catch actually doing a little bit better than splitting this one down the middle. So we know that he's going to make it. 30 minutes remaining in this race right now. And there is the timer in the top left-hand corner of your screen. And you can see the beautiful graphic bar just fading away slowly but surely right now, and showing us all along the bar how much of the race we have gone through. Just about 3/4 of the way done with this one, and we'll be done and dusted here in just a few moments time, with the drivers lapping at around 154s. Let's say we've got about another 20 laps remaining, question mark?
154s is nearly 2. And if it's nearly 2 and there's 30 minutes left, I would say that there's less than 15 or just over 15 laps remaining.
Eric with his speed math, proving the Indian man can't do math in his head.
Well, what's that rhyme? 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. Quick maths. That rap.
I don't know the rap.
It's an internet meme.
I had no idea. Thank you for educating me, Mr. Ghoukasian.
Yeah, always nice when rap contributes towards the education of society and including math in the rhythm and the rhyme.
Of course, just like Biggie Smalls beats, giving us education around the globe still to this day. The leader of Siege Engine leads by 45 seconds over Kairos Buckingham, 71 seconds back from the leader. Pretty close right now is Alfonso, just 4/10 separating the two drivers on the racetrack, the 93 and the 83 coming awfully close. Then Lozovsky, the fifth place Cadillac Whelen Engineering car.
Oh, going for a bit of an adventure he is.
That explains why getting airborne as well, turning that thing into a 747. He was airborne there through the infield a little bit, and going to show you why he is 3 laps down right now. We started off with 8 drivers or 6 drivers in the hypercar category, and we're down to just 5 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, having lost 1, we are down to 5 drivers now. Alex Afonso still chasing down with a huge slide, chasing down Jake Buckingham. I think he has found the pace. He just needs to keep the consistency. Might be pushing a little too hard and over driving the car, which is a thing for those of you that aren't quite familiar with motorsports. You know, there's a really narrow, perfect window in which your car likes to operate. That narrow window shifts through the race. It's never the same. You know, you might get 1 or 2 laps of the same performance, and then maybe again as you replace tires or whatever it is. But fuel goes away, lightening up your car. The tires get worn and perform less. There's always traffic. There's weather changes. Just so many things to calculate. So no 2 laps are ever exactly the same. And having to do these incredibly rapid micro calculations between their brains and their hands and their feet. Alex Afonso seems to have found a little bit of pace, the little bit that he needed to be competitive against Jake Buckingham and threaten Jake Buckingham, hopefully into a mistake for Alex Afonso, and not hopefully for Jake Buckingham, as Afonso does use the whole track and then some to go around the final couple of corners.
Yeah, that's for certain. And we're seeing a couple of battles on the racetrack right now. I think we're seeing this 2 Mustangs in the background. That'll be Gross and Velez battling it out. And we're also seeing the 93 and the 83 battle it out right now. And who was that just coming out of pit lane? That must have been the 311 Olozowski coming out and doing his second pit stop of the race. Eric, I think we can get an update of that on the leaderboard on the left-hand side of the screen. If you scroll down, you can change the leaderboard from gaps to intervals or also to pit stops.
Number of stops, all with 1 stop, as these 2 Mustangs now battling. And looks like Velez has made his way in front of Randy. Both Mustangs, equal vehicles, equal machinery. I'm not sure if, setups are a thing at LMU, so there might be an advantage there. But it does look like Velez has made his way through firmly ahead of Randy Gross for that P5 position.
So do us a favor and ban that guy real quick.
Oh. Oh, but I wanted best viewers on streamboo.com.
Remove the space, obviously. Unfortunately, we will not get the best viewers on stream here tonight. We already have the best viewers on stream. Of course, I'm talking about you, the Trackalicious family. Thank you very much for your love. Thank you very much for your participation, whether you're racing on the track right now or you're just watching at home. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all the support that you give to keeping the lights on here at Trackalicious.
Saagar, you know, one of the things I've been saying recently is we're in such a golden era of sim racing. It's unbelievable the wealth of options that we have. I feel like we're spoiled. to be honest, between the likes of Gran Turismo, the OG, and then Forza Motorsport, and the newcomers of ACC, LMU, AC Evo, as I've been told it needs to be called, and iRacing, just so many things. R Factor 2, AC still popular amongst many. Just so many things to pick from. And beyond that, the graphics have gotten so good that I swear to you, there have been multiple times that even me, with so much experience having looked at racing and sim racing, I get fooled for an instant. I wonder whether, I try to figure out whether what I'm watching is actually real or if it's just sim racing. And I don't think we're too far away from it being absolutely indistinguishable.
I'll tell you what, there's a couple people that I refer to the TRACKILICIOUS channel, and they often commentate to me or will dictate to me. They'll say, "Hey, Saagar, I didn't know you were talking about real life race cars. I thought you just did video game stuff." And I'm going, "No, that was a video game that you watched." And they're going, no, but it looks so real. How can you tell the difference? And it's like, well, unless you were actually a racer, you wouldn't know if it was real or not. And so, yeah, it is almost indistinguishable, the real reality from the fake stuff. And here's still the Ford Mustangs battling it out, coming out of turn 10. And they're going to be going side by side all the way down into the hairpin of the back straightaway. The 88 leads the number 44 by just a small margin. 44 actually looking like he wants to take charge towards that inside line as we approach the horseshoe section. The 88 just keep on opening that door, or keeps on opening up that door here, slowly but surely.
Yeah, I would expect that. Oh my goodness, that is... I love that camera angle. That looks so awesome. The shake from the heli cam as well. It's super interesting that a lot of what we've been seeing, like in the situation of Velez and Bucknam and Afonso, well, Velez and Gross and Bucknam and Afonso, as looks like Gross does duck in to take a pit stop there. But the ones that have gotten by, through, let's say, Velez having come up into a fifth position, haven't just dropped the player, or the driver, I should say, that they were battling against. You would have thought that, they have a lot of speed, whether it was inconsistency or something here or there that happened that made that battle go away, or come into play, I should say, right, coming in from behind. You would think that once they passed, they'd just drop the other driver, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Bucknam passed Afonso probably 3 times now, but Afonso seemed to be able to come back. They find something behind these cars, and it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, drive behind another car. Now let's see if we have a favorable onboard. Really, let's try again. We don't have control. Yeah, here we go. Right. Oh my goodness. That is quite unfortunate for the likes of Alex Afonso, making that mistake that Bucknam was looking for, and now having a bit more breathing room, and that will drop him 10 seconds behind Bucknam ahead.
And they were separated by just a second a few moments ago, but yeah, definitely not what you want to see from one of our competitors who was battling for a podium position here.
Haven't seen the likes of Juan Caires at all through the race. Didn't even know that he was driving the Porsche, but clearly he is. Now, contrary to the Ferrari, I have been a huge fan of Porsche design language on their production cars. They look absolutely phenomenal. But this hypercar, that front end, I don't know. I don't even know if a mother could love, to be honest with you.
Really, I think the Porsche looks fantastic, as well as the Lego model looks really good also, in my opinion. It's a good looking car. It's one of my favorite LMDH vehicles that are out there. And I think they did a great job. Porsche Penske, obviously, running this one.
Saagar, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one, sir. But hey, that's the cool thing about opinions. Everybody can have one.
Just like, never mind. I will keep my mouth shut on this.
Just like mouths. They also have mouths.
Yes, just like mouths. And some people have two.
Yeah, yet again, as we try to boost Alex Afonso's ego, try to compliment another whip around, as thankfully we do have the curse command working, tallying up the number of times the commentators have cursed a driver here at TRACKILICIOUS. I think that number is quite a bit more higher than what we see there, as the command was down for a little while, but we are back at it, counting, and hopefully we don't have that going too far from where it is, but I'm sure it will happen, as it is a privilege to be a commentator and a privilege to have the power to curse those on track, as we see the lovely view of the COTA parking lot with all of those sedans parked in there watching this fantastic race between the hypercars and the GT3s. A big save by Alex Afonso with only 17 minutes and 56 seconds. That is going to be something that he's going to be super happy about, not having to whip that car around for another time. No other type battles on track. Looks like Ramon Torres is 5 seconds behind the likes of Eric Velez. Randy Gross 10 seconds behind Ramon Torres. Velez, as he was battling Randy earlier, seems like Randy has had to come in for another pit, where he is not on the field just yet here. Let's see if we could. But yeah, he does have, I believe he has 2 stops now, as we saw him dip into the pits just earlier. So Randy Gross for sure enough to finish this race. As we continue to watch. Sorry, Saagar, go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely just enough fuel to get to the end of the race. We suspected that some of the GT3 drivers might need to take 2 stops to make it to the bitter end of this race. We know that Catch can make it to the end. He has got enough fuel in that fuel tank or virtual energy. Velpo Rausalainen could be cutting it close. Jason Provolone, Tones, and Velez potentially having to take one more splash to make it to the end. 16 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. That's just a blink of an eye in, well, eye blink time. And we've got just a few more laps and more yellow flags waving out on the circuit. Interesting that we're having more drivers just fade a little bit into the darkness right now.
Tires very likely starting to play into their ability to control these monsters. And if I remember correctly, the hypercars do not have traction control or ABS, so it's pure skill that they have to manage, as we do hear Juan Carlos locking up that Porsche into turn 11.
Now it's all flat out coming towards turn 12, and it'll be hard on the brakes. And another yellow flag is waving there with 15.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Now we're seeing the drivers just try to tiptoe their way on their final laps towards home stretch. We've only got about 7 more laps remaining in this race before we get the white flag waved. We'll be finding out who the victor is of this LMU series tonight.
So I'm actually curious. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet, but looking at the lap times here, 2:08 for the GT3s. That's pretty close to what we see in ACC. I think ACC is more closer to like the 2:04s, right? 2:04s being like the super duper fast laps.
Oh, you've got me beat. I've never driven COTA in it.
Alex Friedman, what's your best time at COTA in ACC? Hopefully you're still here. Give us some info.
Give us the biodata.
Where's that from? Biodata.
It's a Indian meme for when you're trying to find someone to date, and
oh yeah,
Auntie from Indian matchmaking.
Yes, I totally know what you're talking about.
Give me the biodata, and I will find you a match.
I know. I knew I'd heard that somewhere. I totally know what you're talking about, Seema Auntie. That show's ridiculous.
Oh man, yeah. Actually, someone I knew actually dated one of the chicks from that show and was like, dude, she was batshit. Which I thought was super surprising to hear because she seemed so calm, cool, and collected on the show. But to find out that she was not all quite there was quite surprising. And I was like, hey, let me get her number, man.
So Saagar Bakshi, commentator of motorsports, and Saagar Uncle, matchmaker of them, the best.
Yes, absolutely. The best. And if you're looking for an Indian matchmaking wedding, yeah, I'm your guy to put you in touch with.
Yeah, so
and, I think actually Mike Noss was interested in finding an Indian wife. I just mentioned to him the other day, and we might have to put him together with one of my distant cousins in India that could use a green card.
Oh my goodness, the things you guys come up with.
We got to do something when we're racing. It's not like, hey baby, I'm a commentator for sim racing is the best pickup line in the world. Not only do I not drive imaginary race cars, I just talk about them going around a virtual racetrack. Super attractive. Women just swoon over it.
Hey baby, have you seen my microphone?
It's not about the size of your microphone, it's about how you use it, baby girl. Yes, he may have a Yeti, it's very big. But I've got a Shure, very slim, very good. Michael Jackson records on Shure.
Oh my god, I have so many comments. I don't know where the line is, so I'm just not gonna make them. I'll tell you them off stream, Saagar. But in the interest of continuing this race stream, we are on board with Juan Kairos in second place now. But the dominant performance as we have 11 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the race. CJ Engine absolutely killing it. 67 seconds, half a lap ahead of his nearest competitor. Unbelievable. In the GT3 class, looks like Liberat's line has dropped down to 19 seconds. My goodness, that was just unexpected. I thought that he was gonna claw back. So I'd be really curious to see what happens with in the interviews, hopefully, that these folks join us and tell us. I wonder if Felipe did take tires or not, and if Greg's just that much faster. I can't imagine.
Nobody comes into LMU for interviews, man. I've been doing LMU for a long time, and not one driver has come in for an interview.
Well, I'll try. I'll go and wrangle some. We'll try to get one person. At least one person. We'll see. Between 6 people that we have opportunities to interview, let's see if we can get one person. I'm sure at the very least, if he does look at all, we could get the cheese man, Jason Provolone, in chat.
I believe you're referring to the big stinky cheese himself of Jason Provolone, who's 25 seconds off the leader of Cash, sitting in third place right now. But we're still expecting some of the GT3 drivers to take their second pit stop here shortly, so things could be shaken up for the rest of the category.
Yeah, I think we determined that Greg is in the safe zone. Catch in P1, having pitted quite a bit later, maybe 1 or 2 laps later than the rest, splitting that fuel halfway through, that virtual energy available to him. Greg in a dominant P1 position now, 20 seconds, but not nearly as dominant, with 3 times that gap of the likes of CJ Engine, all the way up in P1 of the class, of the race, in the 51 Ferrari here.
It's looking pretty good for Siege Engine right now. Masterclass drive out of him, 70 seconds is the gap between himself and Juan Kairos. Over Jake Bucknam, Andre Alex Alfonso, then Mozovsky, Catch, Rosalind, Provolone, Tones, and Velez. Randy Gross in 6th place for the GT3s.
Yeah, farther down than that, Velez P5, Torres P6, Gross P7, Zach Miller 8, and Xavier Crab. Unfortunately, Zach Miller and Xavier Crab in the list of those that DNF'd in. I did see Alex Freeman coming back with the info high 206s, which likely does mean that the speedy of the speeds probably in the 204s, 203s. Probably, I don't know if it goes down to the 202s in the esports level, but yeah, those folks significantly faster than the likes of the rest of us, including you, Alex. I would like to be kind to you, and you are faster than me, but not nearly as fast as some of those aliens out there. Oh, a mistake. Velez making a mistake there, giving Torres the opportunity to make a move potentially in that Porsche. This is the battle for P5. You know, there's something to be said. Obviously, P1, 2, 3, top place, P1. Everybody wants to fight for that. Then, you know, people want to fight for the podium. You get up, you celebrate, it's kind of cool. For me, it doesn't quite stop there. I think the next most important ones are top 5 and top 10. It's like those are just things that you do battle for. It does have a bit of a significance, even though you're not on the top step. I do like to fight for P5. I do like to fight for top 10. And then beyond that, you know, assuming the points are only within the top 10, if I'm not within that category, then I fight for P not last, which happens more frequently than I would like.
I was gonna say, Eric, more like your case is fighting for P not last more than anything else. Just for bragging rights alone, if I wasn't last in this race, therefore I am a victor and a champion as well. But just kidding. It is a good hard-fought battle here, and it's a good hard-fought battle to just make it to the checkered flag. 100 minutes is no joke of a race. This is more than an endurance event. It is a battle of attrition. How far can you make it in the race before you get a mechanical, before you get a DNF, before you make a mistake? And we're seeing that Porsche go side by side with the Ford Mustang, trying to get a switchback engaged, and he is promptly along the inside line coming through the carousel section. And he did get the move done and dusted. And now it's Tones and Torres, P4 and P5 over the 88.
Mustang having to dip in for another pit stop with only 6 minutes left in the race. Does that mean that the rest of the field has to come in?
I think so. I think some of these drivers still have to take a splash to make it to the end. We can see the virtual energy here that is actually working. 23% prestige engine. Lazowski with only 10% remaining though. And with 5 minutes and 45 seconds remaining on the clock, we won't see the energy for the LMGT3 category, unfortunately, but we are seeing it for the hypercars.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, it looks like Alipo has indeed continued to drop back.
I think Ilpo is definitely in, or Rausalainen is definitely in fuel saving mode right now to try to squeeze it to the very end of this race. He knows he has a comfortable 26-second gap to Provolone from behind. The last thing he wants to do is take an uninspected pit stop right before the checkered flag falls.
Absolutely. We might be driving with fine margins. We just don't know. But one thing we do know is that it seems like Greg Catch has absolutely nailed most things in this race, and hoping that he has nailed the strategy as well, which we'll find out in less than 5 minutes.
Unbelievable that 100 minutes or 95 minutes has already gone by. It's felt like a blink of an eye. And we all know from Mike Noss, a blink of an eye is less than 0.2 of a second. But no, this race has been 95 minutes in the making with 4:20 left on the clock. Nice. We've got Ilpo Rausalainen chasing Catch, and then Provolone in third place, Tones and Torres rounding fourth and fifth. Lazowski trails Alfonso, Buckingham, Kairos, and then Siege Engine demanding our admiration right now as the Ferrari continues to drive forward and expand that 70-second gap to around 76 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I've seen CJ Engine go through, a whole bunch of ACC races. Always been a pretty quick driver, but never seen this type of dominance, absolute dominance from him. And that is quite impressive, expecting that he's put probably quite a bit of practice in the hypercars and getting familiar with LMU. So, 420 left in the race. The race has been blazing by. Yeah, an absolute smoke show from CJ Engine as well.
I see what you did there.
And crazy. Actually, there have been some really cool battles as yet another Alex joins chat. Really cool battles between the likes of Alex Afonso and Jake Bucknam. Those are the two you gotta bug a little bit there, Alex. Also, I think the battles between Randy Gross and Torres and Velez were fun. And the earlier with Zach Miller, those were pretty cool. Pretty good battles.
Juan Kairos with the DNF with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. That'll promote Bucknam into P2, Alfonso into third, and Lovzovsky into fourth place if he can make up 4 laps, but I doubt it. Juan Kairos will finish fourth in this race by all stretch of the imagination.
Oh no. Oh no. That is so unfortunate for Juan. He was doing so well. Now, oh my goodness, can you imagine that happening to one of the GT cars? Having had such a great performance, hopefully Greg does not have to follow suit in the DNF family of events that are happening here.
Yeah, hopefully not. I wonder what bequeathed Juan Kairos to have that mistake with only penalty for Siege Engine just gets popped up on the top left-hand side of the screen. I wonder what that's for, potentially track limits, but it won't drive him to the end of the race to fall back to Jake Bucknam, I would imagine. 96 seconds already is the gap right now, and holy Toledo, that's a long way to go. We should be on the white flag lap right now. If we switch over to the number 51, we should see them crossing the line in just a few moments time, I would imagine.
Yeah, 83 is indeed Alex Afonso. So we have an Alex on track and 2 Alexes in chat in the Alex multiverse here. Isn't that right, Alex Bakshi?
If only, if only. Right now, the 51 coming through the final sector of the track should cross the line, and the white flag will be waving for a Siege Engine, and I bet he's going to be thrilled to see that finally in front of his very own eyes.
He could literally stop right now, right at the end. Oh, no, don't do that. No! No, he could literally stop at the line. Just stop.
Exclamation point curse for every time that Eric Ghoukasian has cursed a driver tonight. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable of Eric Ghoukasian to have cursed Siege Engine at the very possible last moment. But he does cross the line with... He has to serve his drive-through penalty for track limits violations, I would imagine, and that's what that was for. But he's still in the lead by 73 seconds. He could have stopped right there and just not given himself the bonus lap as well. But he did cross the line with 2 seconds remaining, and Siege Engine's going to go around one more time.
Oh my goodness. That's what I was telling you earlier. You gotta be careful, slow down a little bit. But no, we all want to drive super quick and be the fastest ever and, take the risks. So, in that sense, having watched a lot of documentaries between Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, I do like the strategic mind of Prost a little bit more over Senna's like just send it and forget it.
Speak of send it and forget it, Siege Engine is sending it and forgetting that drive-through penalty. Still leads by 76 seconds roughly over Andre Alex Alfonso, Juan Kairos, and then Lazowski. And those are the 5 drivers in the hypercar category. Catch, Rousseline, Provolone, and Tones and Torres will finish up their laps, and that will be it for them. But right now, it's all about Siege Engine coming through the second section right now of the racetrack, and he will claim utter dominance here tonight at Trackalicious LMU hosted event. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for sticking around to the bitter end. We're going to go on the front splitter of the man, the myth, the legend that is Siege Engine to watch him, how he gets it done, coming through the final corner right in front of us. Under the Avis banner we go, and we will get to the checkered flag, and it should be waving high, should be waving proudly, just as the American flag does there at Big Red. And he is slowing down for the final time and taking that checkered flag with a big happy grin on his face. Then we'll have Jake Bucknam crossing the line 72 seconds later, but right now we're looking at Catch, the number 77 Ford Mustang, as he comes around through sector 3 for the final time, and just a few laps down from the leaders, obviously, due to the category difference that we're facing. And we're getting a lovely helicopter camera shot there looking downwards at the 77. But now we're gonna come through to the final couple of corners here, and under the Avis banner we go, driving for the first form Mustang. This should be the Proton livery, if I'm not mistaken. Flashy of the headlights in celebration, weaving across the line, and the Ford Mustang brings it home of Catch. 28 seconds later will be Ilpo Rouseline and Jake Bucknam now crossing the line. Then Andre Alex Alfonso and Provolone, Tones, and Torres will round out our champions here tonight.
Fantastic. And I have sent out a request for interview. Let's see if we can convince anybody to join us. Well, Saagar, that was quite an eventful race, actually. I'm surprised at how many battles with the same people over and over again we did see.
Yeah, it was bound to happen. This is an endurance event, and qualifying didn't dictate the winners and losers of this event, but really it was all about your overall consistency. Darn shame there to see Juan Kairos, Mr. Consistency himself, fall down to P4 after running so well for nearly 98 minutes of this event. With just 2 remaining, he drops out.
Yeah, that is really, really unfortunate. And we do have the winners here. Welcome, CJ Engine and Greg Khachaturian. Welcome. All right, let's start with you, CJ. You had an absolutely dominant performance, but at the end there, a little spiciness. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it was fun. I was honestly just trying not to get limits, and then tried to go for a fastest lap at the end, and pushed it a little too far. So lucky I had the margin, so the drive-through wasn't too stressful. But it's a tough track. It's so bumpy in this game. It's crazy. But no, it was fun.
Well, we've seen you race quite a bit here at Trackalicious, and I was mentioning that you have incredible pace, generally speaking, but never seen you be this dominant in the field. What have you been doing to get so fast?
I like very oversteery cars, so I've driven a lot of ACC where it's hard to get a car on the front end, and these hypercars are super easy to oversteer. So I like when the back end is loose and there's a lot of rotation. So it seems to be working a lot better for me than GTs.
Well, congratulations. A solid win. An incredibly fun to watch. That's okay. Andre, you were going to be the next person I wanted to talk to anyways. You had probably some of the most action in the entire race, going back and forth with Bucknam. Did you think that at any point in time you were going to have that much action through a 100-minute race?
Not really, no. First of all, good evening, good night. What time is it? For me, it's almost 3 in the morning. Yes, no. It was quite fun. It's very interesting. I wasn't expecting to be fighting for as long as I did, but I got distracted a little bit, so I spun. And then what happened to Mr. Kyrus? Kyrus, that how you say his name?
Yeah, unfortunately, we saw him get a DNF. We're not quite sure why. Maybe limits, maybe, I don't know, virtual energy situation. So we'll have to find out what happened to Juan. But for those of you who don't know, if I remember correctly, Andre Alex Afonso driving from Portugal, right?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah. And incredible dedication to the craft, being up so early in the morning driving here at Trackalicious. So thank you so much. Incredible performance, really fun to watch. Now going down to the GT3s, Greg, new to the community. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I just want to say thank you for the race and for the fun. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Always love having you on the grid, and really fun to watch. I know I've had some incredible battles with you, but I think you've gotten much faster than I am these days. So yeah, overall really fun to watch and incredible performance. Good job. But going back down to Greg. Greg, welcome to the community, and what a way to introduce yourself. Fantastic job. Congratulations on that P1 performance. How's that race for you?
No, I appreciate it. I was not expecting to be as fast as I was, because Coda is not a friendly track to me, especially Sector 3. So I was a bit surprised by my pace, and race went pretty smooth. No real drama on my end. Everybody was very, all the prototypes were very courteous out there, so no issues on my side.
Well, I think that it was really fun to watch you. Really fun to watch the pacing between you and Alipo. So why don't we get to have a word with Alipo here? Alipo, for the start of the race, you were quite close, within a second for the longest time, and then dropped back a little bit. But then the pits happened. What happened in the pits to drop you down to 20 seconds from the 1 or 2 seconds you were in the entire first half of the race?
Morbi, the Ford is completely OP on virtual energy. Like, they need 10% less per stint, so that's about 9 seconds in the pit stop if they optimize it fully, which I don't think anybody did, but that, and then I spun a couple of laps later being mad at how OP it is. I mean, there was no chance. I couldn't make the race without having to lift and coast quite severely in the second stint. So even if I had stuck with him, he would have won anyway, very easy, like no chance.
So was it just fuel consumption? And so you didn't take tires? Neither one of you took tires?
I took tires. I think everybody did.
I did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were guessing maybe that's what it was. Is we don't quite have the opportunity to see the what people take, right? So or yellow flags at this current point in time. But go ahead.
No, it's so virtual energy takes half a second per percent, and so it dominates the pit stop completely. Actually, refueling doesn't even matter because the fuel is so fast. It's very much about how much virtual energy you have to put in the car. So yeah, unfortunately the Ford seems to be, at least on this track, a little bit on the OP side.
Well, either way, I think you guys put on a phenomenal performance, especially at the first half. We were saying that for so long, you guys were so close. It was really, despite the lack of overtaking between each other, the pacing was fun and really incredible to watch. Greg, tell us a little bit about how you managed to get to be such a quick driver. A couple of seconds of what you've been driving lately.
Well, I've been sim racing for quite a while. I've actually been racing a lot with Ilpo and an ACC league, so I have a lot of experience, but it's been kind of getting enticed by LMU lately. So, like I said earlier, I was surprised to be as high as I was given Coda, but also I'm a real life Mustang driver, so I'm sure that helped a little bit.
I don't know whether being a real life Mustang driver is a good thing or a bad thing as the internet continues to meme you guys, but that's awesome. I wish I had a Mustang or any sports car of that matter that of big engine capacity. All my cars are 1-point-something liters. So no, Greg, that was awesome. And considering you guys are incredibly quick, both in LMU and ACC, we do have our Next Level Racing GT3 Pro Championship starting this Sunday that is still open for registrations. I would love for you guys to consider to be a part of that. There is a Next Level Racing seat that is available for the P1 championship winner, and it's an incredibly competitive grid, and I know both of you guys do have the pace to be competitive at the very top end of it. Would love to see you guys. With that being said, absolutely phenomenal job. Congratulations on a great performance and a podium for both of you guys, and the win for Greg, and look forward to seeing you back in the future races. With that, Saagar, I'll let you close the stream as I find somebody for us to raid.
Just want to say again, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you very much for all the love and participation, whether you are a driver, a watcher, or just a fan of racing in general. Thank you very much for stopping by. From Wiggles, Xander Zone, Alex Hansen, Doc Milwee. Who else did we have drop on by? Am I a Failure? Shiny Carp, Rod Skyhook, yo, Flirty 630. And Provolone. Thank you guys very much for stopping by. I really appreciate all the love and support as always. Have a great night and stay safe out there.
Thank you, everybody. Good night, and we'll be rating Killer Beach, running some hosted races out there. A lovely community, great folks. Go say hi, and we'll see you next time, which will be Sunday for the GT3 Next Level Racing Pro Championship. See you guys.